Hello and welcome to Awesome Bundesliga Matchday 24 Der-Klassiker. And Ronan, we have the best game in Germany, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund. And we have great odds actually to back the home team, in this case Borussia Dortmund, since of course the bookies are with Bayern Munich. You see also this classic so one-sided going for Bayern Munich?
I don't think so, actually. I don't think that's the way it's going to be this time. I know, obviously, Borussia Dortmund have one eye on the Champions League tonight, Wednesday, but I think Borussia Dortmund's form in the Bundesliga has been spectacular, so there's no kind of reason to necessarily rule them out or think Bayern Munich should be guaranteed favourites in this one.
Only one defeat for Borussia Dortmund this season is outstanding, indeed. Well, we will talk later much more about this game. Of course, stay with us to analyze this Bundesliga. Ronan is nailing his ACCAs, his tips, so I would pay attention to what he says for this video. So, guys, be ready. Let's go on now with the show. First game on Friday, Augsburg, Cologne. Cologne is still in risk, 4 points away from the bottom three, even if they grabbed a positive draw with Hoffenheim after losing to Stuttgart and Leipzig. But for this game, Augsburg are the favorites since they are in a really good run, beating Wolfsburg or Heidenheim in the last two games to be absolutely safe in February. So, well done, Augsburg.
Yeah, I think well done both these teams. So far this season, they kind of performed quite well. They're kind of comfortably mid-table teams, and yeah, neither of them need to worry too much about the relegation battle because there's so many other teams in there at the moment, even in big names, even some of the former Bundesliga winners are kind of in the relegation battle. But these two teams are kind of comfortably in mid-table and looking down at the other teams that are away from them. So I think they'll be happy enough to both pick up a point here. Maybe if you look at the last three meetings between these two teams, they've all been 1-1, and the last six meetings between these two teams have all been both teams to score yes. So it usually puts in an entertaining match. Usually ends up in a draw. Augsburg, like you said, they had back-to-back wins, so that's great form for them. But their opponents haven't been necessarily great teams. They have been the teams, like I've mentioned, the teams that are in the relegation zone, Heidenheim and Wolfsburg. They're the teams you need to beat, obviously. But Cologne, they have no wins in their last three games, but they have scored in every single game they played in 2026. So I am confident that they can get a goal here. I think, like I said, if we look at the matches that we've seen in the past, both teams to score yes seems to always happen. So both teams to score yes at 162 looks pretty good. 𝗀𝗵𝐿 is saying a draw in the comments. I also like the look of a draw, I must say here. 350 I was tempted by that. I know, like you said, Augsburg are the favourites. If one team was to shade it probably would be them. But to combine them, I like a draw and both teams to score yes together at 4-10. So that's a 1-1 rather than 0-0 that 𝗀𝗵𝐿 is predicting.
Exactly, 1-1 or the draw looks very good for this game. Screams draw. Next game is Gladbach Union Berlin. Gladbach really in danger, 2 points away from the bottom three after losing to Freiburg in the last weekend, also to Frankfurt. Before that is 7 winless games. Also, Union Berlin was in a really bad run after they met Leverkusen. Surprisingly, they won. It was the first win after 7 winless games. Gladbach, Ronan, I guess they are hoping for a positive result finally here.
Yeah, both these teams were on terrible runs. Gladbach are still on their terrible run, but Union Berlin put theirs behind them. It was their first win since December 20th. So yeah, it was a kind of surprising result from them there. We would not be surprised to see Gladbach keep losing because they have no win since the 11th of January, since their first game of 2026. 7 games without a win. And despite that, the temporary coach who seems to become a kind of semi-permanent coach, it seems to continue to be backed by the bosses. 𝐬𝐭𝐴𝐵𝐿, he's been given the kind of the green light. He has our full trust, is what Ruben Schroeder has said about him. So I'm not sure why he has the full trust. Maybe they like him inside the building, but he's not putting performances in on the pitch. So It is not a good season for Gladbach. It is not a good time, a good moment for Gladbach at the moment. Union are now up to 9th. Fair play to them. They are doing quite well. Gladbach are down to 14th. They are being pulled into that relegation battle. And most of that is because their home form is so bad. They're 16th in the home table, just 2 wins at home all season, which is diabolical for a team like Borussia Monchengladbach. And Union, on the other hand, they're getting good results away and home. They're 9th in the away table, because we usually expect them to be a very good team at home, but they're also been quite good or quite reliable on the road this season. They have 3 wins and two draws away from home, and they won this one 3-1 in October. So Union Berlin as the away team, I like a double chance here at 161, but I'm going to go even a step further than that. I think that they might actually win this one. So if they do, you'll get their money back. If they don't, if they draw, you'll get your money back. But if they win, very good. So Union Berlin, draw no bet, I really like here at 212, because Borussia Mönchengladbach just cannot buy a win from anywhere at the moment.
Well, 𝐿𝐿𝐴 also going for this double chance, and our smart bet tool going also for double chance for Union Berlin. Next game is Leverkusen Mainz. Here we have a clear favorite. Leverkusen qualified for the last 16 round after a boring draw with Olympiacos, and in the Bundesliga trying to find the top 4. They are 4 points away from Stuttgart. They beat Pauli 4-0 in the last game. Or before that, last game was the defeat in Berlin. Before that was the 4-0. With Pauli, Mainz 2 points away from the bottom 3. They keep getting positive results. They drew with Hamburg. I think you predicted that, actually. But they started the season really poor. Could be a dangerous team, though, these Mainz, Ronan.
Yeah, I think the way they're playing at the moment, they are capable of surprising anybody, and that's why I haven't gone for a full-time 1x2, because I think I wouldn't be surprised to see if this match ended up in a draw, because Bayer Leverkusen, I think they might be a bit tired from the midweek exploits or the Tuesday night game against Olympiacos. I know they didn't score, but they did defend very well for the 90 minutes. That was one of those sort of games where Bayer Leverkusen were happy for the draw. I think they were content to get the draw. I know they hit the crossbar late on, but it seemed the match that as long as we don't concede, it's okay, because their recent record in the knockout stages of the Champions League hasn't been fantastic. So getting a win in the away leg and a draw in the home leg is exactly what they want. They'll go through to the next round, into the last 16. They might even play Bayern Munich in the last 16. That will be interesting if that is what it ends up being, because then it will be Bayern Munich versus Bayer Leverkusen, I think 4 times in 3 weeks. They'll play each other. They'll play each other in the league. They'll play each other in the cup semi-final, and they could play each other twice in the Champions League as well in that period. So that would be they'll get fed up of the sight of each other by the end of that, I think. But this one, it's usually an entertaining match. It was 4-3 to Leverkusen in October. Leverkusen obviously are the better team at the moment. They are the better team on paper. They have been the better team throughout the season. If you look at the average goal scored for them, it's 2 for Leverkusen per game and 1.1 for Mainz. So Mainz probably aren't scoring enough, and they particularly aren't scoring enough first half goals. They're only scoring on average half a goal every first half, 0.5, whereas Leverkusen are getting 1.2. And if you look at the overall stats, then Leverkusen score most of their goals in the first half. Mainz score most of their goals in the second half. So for that reason, I'm going to go for Leverkusen to win the first half, because I think after their performance on Tuesday in the Champions League, they could be a bit tired in the second half, and maybe Mainz can pick up something. Maybe I should have had a look at the half-time, full-time Leverkusen/draw, but I'm just going to go for Leverkusen to win the first half here at 220.
Hopefully, indeed, we see Arsenal Leverkusen in the Champions League. But, well done for Leverkusen and for German football, since it's closer to get the 5th spot next season in the Champions League. Leverkusen to win 2-1, 3-1 or 4-1 for 𝐿𝐴, and Jeremy also sees both teams to score in this game. Hoffenheim Pauli is the next one. We have the third, Hoffenheim against bottom 3 Pauli, but they got a crucial win last weekend against Werder Bremen. They finally left the direct relegation spots, and Hoffenheim drew with Cologne, but at home it's almost a safe bet. They've won the last 8 games at home. Brilliant.
Yeah, they're really good at home at the moment. They're really good in general at the moment. Third, who would have expected Hoffenheim to be third at the table at this point? You might have expected St. Pauli to be in the relegation zone or in the battle for relegation or the relegation playoff at this stage. But they have been excellent recently. They've beaten Bremen, like you said. They beat Stuttgart also in February, so it's been a good month for them to kind of pull a bit of distance away from those automatic spots. But they need to obviously keep producing those sort of results if they are to avoid relegation, because there are a lot of bad teams are down there that they could move past if they're able to get some good performances. Hoffenheim, they've scored in each of their last 8 games. Their only defeat in that spell was to Bayern Munich. They've scored 2 or more goals in 5 of their last 6 games, and the only one they didn't was that 5-1 defeat to Bayern Munich. They did get on the score sheet, I suppose. So I think these teams have already played twice this season. So Hoffenheim won in the league 3-0 against St. Pauli and Hamburg, and it was 2-2 in the cup before St. Pauli actually went through on penalties. So more teams to score, yes. Looks a good option in most Bundesliga games. Looks a good option here again. 194, I like the look of. But I think this is a match where Hoffenheim can kind of show what they're made of, and Hoffenheim can score plenty of goals because, like I said, they've scored 2 or more goals in 5 of their last 6. They can do that again. Hoffenheim over 1.5 goals themselves is 162, but I'm going to go even bigger and say Hoffenheim over 2.5 goals is 290.
All right, great season indeed. Hoffenheim, remember, last season they were fighting against relegation. David going for Hoffenheim and over 2.5 goals, and Jeremy Hoffenheim and both teams to score. No, Hoffenheim to win, as I said, is almost like a safe bet. A smart bet for this game is over 2.5 goals. And the scary game of the weekend is Werder Bremen, Heidenheim. Right now, both are going to Bundesliga 2. Werder Bremen going to Bundesliga 2, a historic team in Germany, playing Champions League even not a long time ago. And they dropped to this bottom 2 after losing to St. Pauli. Heidenheim surprised us, getting a draw with Stuttgart, even they were very close to beat Stuttgart. How do you see this one? Is now or never for Werder Bremen?
Yeah, it really is, and I think it's from what's coming out of the dressing room, what the players are saying to the media after the games. It seems to me never, because Marco Friedl, the Werder Bremen captain, came out and said we currently have 0 confidence, and it shows. And yeah, you're kind of wondering where the confidence could come from, but this seems to be the most likely place. If you are looking to get confidence, the worst team in the league is the place to kind of to build it. But yeah, there's some people I suppose are looking at this as for the Bremen's chance to win, but they don't know how to win at the moment. They have no wins in 13 matches. It's 3 defeats in a row for them. And Heidenheim, they don't know how to win either. They have no wins in 10 matches, although they did draw 3-3 against Stuttgart. Like you said, there was a load of disallowed goals in that match. It could have went anyway. If they had been allowed, it might have been a nice 5-4 game in the end. But yeah, they battled very hard. Said they're exhausted after it because there was a good result to get a 3-3 draw against Stuttgart. And if you look at these two teams, a draw kind of, yeah, this one does scream a draw. It was 2-2 in October. It was 3-3 in Bremen last season. The most common result actually is Heidenheim to win 2-1. But Heidenheim double chance might be an option at 209 because Werder Bremen, terrible at the moment. They're missing 𝐿𝐿𝐴𝐽. He's injured again. So they're missing him. He has been a big player for them when he has been fit, but he's now injured again. He's going to have a spell on the sidelines. Further, they do not know how to win. A double chance for Heidenheim, maybe. But yeah, a draw seems more likely here, doesn't it? 4-4.
Well, when 2 bad teams meet, indeed, most of the times it's a draw, but it's a crucial game for Werder Bremen. They really need to win. 𝐿𝐴𝐽 is also going for a draw in this game. And now the game of the games, Der-Klassiker, Bayern Munich, Borussia Dortmund, the best 2 teams in Germany at the Signal Iduna Park with Dortmund playing midweek. As you said, we are doing this video on Wednesday, so we don't know what happened in Bergamo. And also Dortmund saved in Leipzig with Silva scoring in the 95 minute. Remember that only 1 defeat for Dortmund this season, really far away from Bayern Munich, but the numbers are to fight for the Bundesliga. And when we see these two teams, Ronan, I guess we expect plenty of goals, a lot of action. And as I said at the beginning, I'm really surprised about the odds for Borussia Dortmund. It's not that I expect them to win, but 4.45 Dortmund playing at home. We know how good they could be with their supporters. For instance, last season we saw a draw here, and they've been competitive lately against Bayern Munich, even in the reverse fixtures. This season in Munich was a 2-1. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is a close game and not that easy as the odds suggest for Bayern Munich.
Yeah, that's what you kind of have to look at here. That maybe it might be a tricky one for Bayern Munich, because they do have Alphonso Davies out as well. I know Manuel Neuer and Konrad Laimer are back in training, and that will be a boost for them. But yeah, this Bayern Munich team, they're maybe not as efficient as they were earlier in the season, but they're still racking up goals. They're still racking up wins. Harry Kane seems to score doubles in every game. He scored multiple goals in 3 games in a row. That he needs to do that once more to equal Robert Lewandowski's record of scoring multiple goals in 3 games in a row. So yeah, he just continues to score. They have various different players continuing to score. Jamal Musiala, he's the youngest player in Bundesliga history to reach 100 wins actually last weekend. So yeah, this is a match that Borussia Dortmund may be an afterthought. That's the feeling around Bayern Munich anyway. That's a feeling from Lothar Matthäus, former Ballon d'Or winner, Bayern Munich legend, now a very outspoken pundit in Germany. But he says for Borussia, the playoff second leg in Bergamo is clearly more important than this game, and it probably is. We just have to kind of wait and see what happens. We might have to wait and see who the defence might be for Borussia Dortmund in that. Do they come through unscathed? Because Borussia Dortmund have had to play teenagers at the back recently, so it's kind of been a tricky kind of period for them, but they've come through it fine. They've come through it all right. They've scored plenty of goals at the other end of the pitch. They've scored 2 or more goals in 5 consecutive games before that Atlanta game on Wednesday evening, obviously, and they've done that in 9 consecutive Bundesliga games. So you have to look at lots of goals in this one, because Bayern Munich are also scoring 2 or more goals in most games, 6 games in a row for them. So both teams to score, yes, it looks a safe bet at 140, but you have to go for the total goals market. You can look at the various player markets for Bayern Munich. You could look at Dominican Guirassy for Borussia Dortmund, but the obvious one here is total goals, and it's a high number, but I think it'll happen. Over 3.5 total goals is where it comes in, around 2, so that's 189.
Indeed, it's really high. Imagine so high, and still the odds are not even 2.0. 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐷 to score at any time, and both teams to score also from Jeremy, from 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐷. As you are saying, 𝐿𝐴𝐵𝐴𝐷, this match will decide the title race. I think it's already decided, no matter. Even if Borussia Dortmund wins this game, it's only 3 wins for Dortmund in the last 9 years in the games between these two teams. Of course, Bundesliga are ruled by Bayern Munich. Let's see how company's men perform now in spring, in March and April, since last season is when they started to go down and they lost in the Champions League. Let's take a look at our smart bet tool and see what are the options for this game. And we find the 1x double chance for Borussia Dortmund as top tip. I said there is value there, 2.2, and then under 4.5 goals, since the odds are very, very high if you go for an under. Okay, we have 4 goals, Ronan. Smart bet and you are both correct. A 2-all could be an option for this game. Well, great game at the Signal Iduna Park. Of course, check out not the lineups, but the game between Atalanta and Dortmund, and see also the fatigue of Dortmund players, since they have to play these Champions League playoffs. There will be fireworks at the Signal Iduna Park for sure. We are going to see a great atmosphere at the wall. And for Sunday, we have 3 other games. Stuttgart-Wolfsburg is the first one. Stuttgart 4th, fighting to get into the Champions League next season. They are playing Europe, but it's done. They beat Celtic in Glasgow 4-1, so for them it's done. And perhaps they were tired after that game in Celtic Park, and they drew with 𝗀𝗛𝗏 scoring the equalizer in the last minutes against Heidenheim. It's very important, this game, for both sides, since Wolfsburg are getting really, really in danger. They lost to Augsburg at home 3-2, so it's only 1 point in the last 5 games for Wolfsburg, and now level on points with Pauli only 1 point away from Werder Bremen, so they can fall into the bottom 3 easily this weekend.
Yeah, they can, and kind of some ridiculous reporting has come out from Germany this week, because Daniel Bauer, the Wolfsburg head coach, he is obviously under pressure, as you would expect, because Wolfsburg and since he's come in, he hasn't really turned things around. And Bild have reported that 𝐿𝐹 𝐸𝐺𝐻 could come back. He hasn't managed anybody. Yeah, he's 72. He is 72 now. He hasn't managed anybody in 4 years. Hertha Berlin, or the last team he managed. He managed Wolfsburg twice before. He obviously won the league with them back in 2008, 2009, when 𝐬𝐿𝐴, I think, was a striker for him currently at Schalke, tearing things up in the Zweite Liga. But yeah, Dino Topmuller has also been linked by kicker. He was sacked by Frankfurt last month. But yeah, 𝐿𝐹 𝐸𝐺𝐻, where is that story coming from? And yeah, hopefully it happens, because it will be great to see him back. He is obviously a Bundesliga and managerial legend. But yeah, if they need to turn to him, things are really bad. And yeah, Stuttgart could make it worse for them this weekend. And Dennis 𝗀𝗛𝗏, like you said, he keeps scoring for Stuttgart. He keeps providing assists. He's only actually the 6th player from the top 5 leagues to reach 10 goals and 10 assists in all competitions. And if you look at all the rest of the players in that list, it's obviously the Bayern Munich duo, Michael Olise, Luis Diaz, their wingers, and Barcelona's Lamine Yamal, Fermin Lopez, and Marcus Rashford. So yeah, the only player outside of those clubs is Dennis 𝗀𝗛𝗏 to have 10 goals and 10 assists this season. So yeah, he is having a spectacular season for Stuttgart. Long may it continue. Maybe he'll get a rest against Celtic in the Europa League, because, like you said, they're already more or less through. Stuttgart have scored 3 or more goals in each of their last 3 games. Wolfsburg have no wins in 6. They've conceded 2 or more goals in each of their last 3 games. So Stuttgart over 1.5 goals is just 144. So it seems a bit more like a safe bet than a bet to tip here. Smart bet here is going for Stuttgart for everything. The AI just loves Stuttgart. Yeah, 5 stars for Stuttgart win. That's 158. It's all going for Stuttgart to score first. And it's going for total goals over 2.5 in this match. So it seems to think that Stuttgart are going to win. They're going to get lots of goals. So let's combine them all. Let's use Smart Bet and our own kind of inside information to go for Stuttgart to win and over 2.5 total goals for 195.
Okay, 𝐿𝐴 is telling us the same, or Stuttgart to win and both teams to score, which is similar. All right, let's see if they can keep the level and get a Champions League spot next season. Next one is Frankfurt. Freiburg, these 2 teams trying to get into European spots, is not going to be easy this season. Frankfurt, remember, started the season or played Champions League group phase, lost to Bayern, is 12 points distance with Stuttgart, and in the last home game they beat Gladbach 3-0 for Freiburg. They beat Gladbach 2-1, but they were in bad form in the Bundesliga, especially away. Ronan, 3 defeats and 1 draw in the last away games in Germany.
Yeah, these 2 teams seem to be kind of struggling to get great results, but if they play Gladbach, they're guaranteed to win, because they've both been beaten Gladbach in the last couple of fixtures. And yeah, Freiburg, they beat Gladbach after losing to Hoffenheim, and Frankfurt beat Gladbach before they lost to Bayern. So yeah, these are two teams that I think I'm hoping for an entertaining match from this one on Sunday, because the last 5 meetings between these 2 teams have been 4 or more total goals. It was a 2-2 earlier this season, so that's 4 goals. It was 4-1 win for Frankfurt at home. That's 5 goals, and a 3-1 win for Frankfurt away last season, 4 goals. So yeah, this seems to be one that we get lots of goals in. So hopefully that will continue. Frankfurt, like we know earlier in the season, they were scoring a lot, they were conceding a lot. Now they have Albert Riera as their head coach, and yeah, he's kind of been looking to attack first and get lots of goals, and it's kind of been working somewhat so far. Obviously, we had the distraction at the weekend of the him being asked about Max Kruse in the press conference. And Max Kruse, former Bundesliga player, Martin Harnik, they have a podcast. They were criticizing Riera. They said they don't like his attitude, things like that. And he was asked about that in the press conference. He replied, "Who?" So he was pretending, or he doesn't know who Max Kruse and Martin Harnik are. But then Eintracht Frankfurt's social media team on Twitter came out and said that they don't want the press conferences to be kind of guided, or the questions in the press conferences be guided by someone who has pictures of their penis on the internet. So that's Max Kruse. About 10 years ago, he had pictures leaked that he was trying to send to his girlfriend, or a video leaked that he was trying to send to his girlfriend. So that has become a massive story in Germany about Max Kruse and his private parts with Frankfurt. So hopefully nothing is asked about that ahead of this match at the weekend, and we can just focus on the goals in this match. So yeah, over 2.5 goals has happened 73% of the time for Frankfurt this season, 54% of the time for Freiburg. Frankfurt have actually covered the over-under line 61% of the time so far this season, and that over-under line for this match is over 2.75 goals. So that's what I'm going to go for. Total goals over 2.75 at 199.
Always a good idea with Eintracht Frankfurt on the pitch. 46 goals scored, 49 goals conceded. It's crazy the amount of goals that we always see in their games. And the last game is Hamburg Leipzig. Be careful here. With Hamburg is a tough team to beat at the moment, and they are really the underdog for this game. 3.3 for them to win. No defeats in the last 6, especially tough when they are playing at home. And Leipzig is only 1 win in the last 5 games. They were close to do it against Dortmund. They also drew with Wolfsburg. Before that, you could see also Leipzig dropping points again here.
Yeah, I think you could, because like I said last week, and we predicted right they would draw with Mainz, and that's what happened. 6 games unbeaten for Hamburg, 4 draws and 2 wins. So yeah, this is a team that are taking points off everybody at the moment, and Leipzig, they've had back-to-back draws 2-2 in their last 2 games after getting knocked out of the cup by Bayern Munich. So Leipzig they're not in their best run at the moment. Hamburg are performing decent. Yeah, Hamburg have already drawn 8 times this season in the Bundesliga, and of RB Leipzig's draws, most of them have come away from home. 3 of the 5 draws they've had so far in the Bundesliga have been away draws. So yeah, Hamburg plus Asian handicap plus 1.5. I kind of was intrigued by that as a safe bet because it's 126. Yeah, I think Hamburg. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be demolished here in this one. I don't think anybody is going to see that really happening or expect that to happen. So Hamburg with an Asian handicap plus something could be a good way to lean into it. But yeah, I think Hamburg could pick up some points here. So Hamburg double chance at 175. Yeah, why not go for that?
Indeed. Goalless draw or 1-1. Okay, going also for the draw here. A smart bet, first half result, Hamburg. So Hamburg to lead at halftime is 3.6. Really, really good odds to back Hamburg. Also double chance, as we can see here, 1.7 or under 3.5 goals are the other option from our AI. For the last game in this Bundesliga match day 24, the weekend of Der-Klassiker, Borussia Dortmund, Bayern Munich. Remember, of course, that we have our tipster competitions going on now with February running to an end. Will be available also the monthly one in March. If you want to participate, there you go. A couple of Ukrainian guys, once again, they are so good at tipping the Ukrainians. And check out Rivals, another option for you to make money thanks to Oddspedia. There you go. Ronan, safe bet?
My safe bet this week is Hoffenheim versus St. Pauli, over 1.5 total goals.
And let's keep the good run in your ACCAs. Next one.
My ACCA this week is Hoffenheim themselves. Hoffenheim to score over 1.5 goals. Dortmund and Bayern to have over 3.5 goals. And Frankfurt and Freiburg to have over 2.5 goals at 563.
Okie dokie, Ronan. See you next week. Thank you. Bye-bye.